Product market fit. What does that mean? It means that your product is needed. Think of a time you're walking, you're like, how do I get home? Oh wait, Uber. Yes, Uber. It's the new version of a taxi. Imagine if you went 20 years ago and you told them, hey, I've got Uber, it's an application on my phone, I just tell it where it is and it comes and it sends a taxi to come pick me up. They'd probably laugh you out the room, but they'd say it's a good idea, right? So that's a very good example of product market fit. Doesn't always have to be tech. Think of ice cream on a hot day. It's hot, it's boiling, you want to get cooled a little bit, ice cream does the job. Now think of the opposite. Think of something silly like an umbrella in the Antarctic. Why would you need an umbrella in the Antarctic? It's probably what something, my kids would say. But that's a really good example of product market fit. It solves a problem. What's the job to be solved? I remember reading about Harvard professor Christensen's work, and he speaks about what is the job of the product. Start there.
Well, it turns out that the milkshake does the job better than any of the competitors, which in the customer's minds are not Burger King milkshakes, but it's bananas, donuts, bagels, Snickers bars, coffee, and so on. But I hope you can see how, if you understand the job, how to improve the product becomes just obvious.
And like I always say, start with MVP. All that means is start with your minimum viable product. Now, that could be from the simple thing of asking potential users, to drawing up wireframes, to testing your hypothesis even more by spending $1,000 maybe on an initial software. But before you spend 50 to 100K of yours and other people's money, I would test the hypothesis, I would get some feedback, and then if there's pull, if there's demand for your product, which kind of indicates that there's product market fit, then go further. But if there isn't, I would stop at that, because it's better to fail a little bit and consider that an experiment and a sunk cost than to lose everything. And a perfect example is Airbnb. When they started, they literally had an air bed and breakfast that was inflatable beds and a directory. It was very basic. There was no software. But thereafter, they realized they were onto something and they carried on, and then they got investors and it grew.
I actually learned something, because we kept doing launches to get a lot of press. If you launch and no one notices, you can actually just keep launching. And so we just kept launching. We've launched, and people would keep writing about it as if we launched. We're like, we'll just keep launching until we get customers. And we would change things and change the name, and we'd launch again. And so the first so-called launch was that first weekend, but that was just 3 people. The second launch was Airbeds and Conference United States. And we had 2 customers. I was one of them. And so we decided we'll launch at least one more time. When I used it in South by Southwest. At the time, there was no payments, and you had to stay in an airbed. And a bunch of people tell me a bunch of things. They said, well, why do I have to, I want to go to London, but there's no conference. And we're like, why does this have to be for conferences? At the time, that wasn't even obvious. Why would anyone stay in anyone's home if there wasn't a conference? It would be too weird. And then we thought, wait, why does it have to be on airbeds? At the time, actually, we had a rule. You had to have an airbed, so you had to inflate an airbed and put it on your mattress. And everyone was like, why am I putting airbeds on my mattress? It's so uncomfortable. And I wake up on one side of the bed, and I woke up, and the other, it's rolled around me, it's hot. And we're like, okay, fine, you don't need to have an air mattress. You may have a real bed.
So think of that. Think of an MVP. Think of testing your hypothesis. I want to thank you for everything that you've done in terms of commentary, feedback, and sharing this with friends and family. Don't forget to hit the notifications button to subscribe. And if there's anything that you'd want me to go over or to cover, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you.